Today we have January Fonseca-Sabune with us, hustling artist who is a barber, currently a new barbershop owner in Montclair, New Jersey. And she's with us today and she's going to give us the lowdown on barbering and how much hustle it takes to have your own barbershop. January and I met actually in the gym. We met at Gorilla Fitness in Montclair. We both were workout warriors together. I can't say if we were workout warriors, but we definitely were in there for a little bit, and that's how we met. And eventually, January got me into her chair, and it's been like my barber from in New Jersey since I've been here. Otherwise, and she knows this very well, I just don't get my hair cut. Which is terrible. Um, so let's talk about what you have going on now. So you're a new barbershop owner. Can you talk a little bit about that? The process of getting your barbershop and sort of how that feels now?
Oh man. So I always knew that well, no, I let me start over. I didn't always know that I wanted to have my own barbershop. It kind of just like happened serendipitously. A friend of mine who's also in the industry mentioned to me that there was an elder gentleman that had a shop and was by himself. And I'm thinking to myself, "Oh my God, that's miserable, like to be by yourself in a barber shop."
Hmm.
And I was like, "Wow." And she was like, "You know what you need to do is you need to go work for him because he's gonna retire eventually.
Hmm.
So you go work for him and then, you know what I mean, you can have your own shop in, 3 to 5 years, whatever." And I'm thinking, okay, like that sounds reasonable. And it was just kind of like a step that I took. So I got hired by him, started working with him, and then within 7 months he's talking about, selling me the shop. And I was like, wow, like I could be a business owner. Like I can, so there was certain steps that I had to go through. I have to get licensed by state board in order to run a barbershop, own a barbershop. Also not run and own a barbershop, but also like be like like I have to fall under these certain like like a certain category of a barbershop. So I have to have certain things in place. Like I have to have a certain amount of square footage, per station. I have to, have you know, what do you call it? Um sanitizer at my station. I
Hmm.
have to have garbage receptacle at each station. I have to have a UV sterilizer. I have to have what do you call it? Like a place where I'm putting my clean and dirty laundry, like to make sure that that's separate. Like some people are like clueless. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You have no idea like the sanitation stuff that people like
Hmm.
are clueless about.
Hmm.
You go into a place and it's like dirty as hell and you're like, what the heck? Oh my God. Like I don't want to touch anything here.
Hmm.
So I have to like propose to people like a place where they can come get their hair cut that's clean and sterile and
Right.
sanitized,
Right. And that's also stipulated through your like business what the state stipulates you'd have or
Yeah, yeah, the
wow,
state is really strict on that stuff.
gotcha.
Like my blades, like whenever I use a blade on somebody, I have to like I have to change the blade on the shavette. I have to
Hmm.
put a new blade in every time, and then I have to dispose it in a hazard container.
So
So it
it's
has to be like,
specific.
yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah,
it's got to be like I have to be on point with that.
gotcha. So you're talking about all of the business owner side of things, and you haven't even spoken to the artistry of being a barber or the skill set. Like
Yeah,
it. So when
it's like crazy.
so what you're doing right now is everything. Most of it is business owner stuff. How long have you had? How long has January's been open?
3 months.
3 months.
Three
So
months.
cool. So everything is like business, 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 business.
Yeah, but it's like it's pretty simple compared to like what other business owners have to go through.
Hmm.
I know how to do haircuts. I know how to do fast haircuts. I can like deliver a good quality service to people. And that's it. Like I could take that anywhere with me. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? So like it's not like I have to like pack up my skill set, and I mean I have my like machines and like my tools that I use, but like for the most part, like I am the business
Hmm.
or I am the talent of the
Hmm.
business,
Hmm.
So it's like I'm selling my haircuts.
Hmm.
That's it.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. So in the midst of all of that business owner, stuff going on, you find the time to compete. in these barber competitions,
Yeah.
right? Can you talk a little bit about those competitions and sort of what that means for your community, and then also all of the like the culmination of talent that comes to those competitions to showcase their work?
Wow. So there are a ton of very, very talented barbers out there. Like it's unbelievable the amount of talent that goes into like this and that is in this industry. Like it's just like insane, you know? Like I don't know, like I went to this one competition and my first competition ever and I was like super nervous. I ended up placing third in the competition. Um so that was cool, but like the girls that were like ahead of me, like one she's an educator for a company called Muck, and then the other girl is like this dope ass barber from Philadelphia who's off the chain barber. Like they've both been in the industry way longer than me, but like to be, um, you know, in a competition and place like third place with those two people, like I was just like, wow, like maybe I'm a lot better than I think I am. Because I definitely suffer from, you know, not low self esteem, but what is the word? It's like when you uh
Like insecurity?
insecurity. Yeah, yeah. I have a lot of insecurities about like my haircuts,
Mm-hmm.
how they look. Like sometimes like I'm like, oh my God. Um, but there are just some really talented barbers that like show up for these things and I'm like, wow, how am I even gonna like place in this thing?
Right.
You
And
know?
so when you place in those competitions and it kind of proves to you that you are the barber that you think you are you competitive?
Yeah, yeah, I'm competitive. For
Absolutely.
sure. For
Well,
sure.
that theme of insecurity is like a running theme for artists. And I think just everyone in general, but like the insecurity because you're always like putting yourself something that you created out there for judgment. And that's like difficult.
Yeah. But yeah,
But
exactly.
like if I learn a snare drum piece, that's not the same thing. You know what I mean? Because there's not other people involved in that.
Mm-hmm.
So how many competitions have you been in the last like maybe 5 or 6 years, and what were your placings?
I've been in four competitions, four barber competitions. The first one I did was in Atlantic City. I placed third in the competition, and I did not get a trophy. I
Mm-hmm.
was pretty
What is
upset
that?
about it.
Third place didn't get trophies.
I don't know. The first place got like a heavyweight belt, champion belt, like barber belt, like,
Mm-hmm.
and then the second place got a trophy, but I didn't get it. Third place did not get a trophy. I was pretty bummed out about that.
They
I
could have
didn't
at
have
least given
like
you
any
like
proof.
a set of like lotions or something.
Lotion. No, they gave me like some like little clippers that I don't use and like some stuff, some products and stuff. But um for the most part, like the only ounce of evidence I had about me being in this competition was like a picture of me like looking like a groupie with someone holding a trophy and a weight belt. Like I
So
was
you're
just like,
in
this is
it.
I just, I placed third. Like this I did, but it was like that was like my proof. And then the second competition I did, what was the second competition? The second competition I did was in it was in Philadelphia. It was in no, Connecticut. It was in Connecticut.
The Barber Expo.
The Barber Expo, yep, and I
Hmm.
placed second in that competition, the
Nice.
Connecticut Barber Expo. So that was cool. There was a lot of good people in that competition too.
Hmm.
And then that was like there was like 33 barbers in that competition.
Wow. From like
Yeah.
the tri-state area, or
Yeah, from the tri-state area in
yeah,
Connecticut.
yeah.
Yeah, there was like 33 barbers.
Yeah, and then so what do you have to do in a competition? What's that experience like?
So pretty much they're like, here's the haircut you give. This is the amount of time you have to do it in. These are the guidelines. Like I had to execute this haircut in 45 minutes. It had to be flawless. It had to be and I had to, practice like I had to practice like sanitary stuff like in the competition. Like I had to like keep my tools organized and like like a garbage thing. Like I had to have like a bag where I put my garbage. Like I had to make sure that I wasn't skimping on certain
Mhm.
spraying off my clippers, like sterilizing my clippers, sanitizing my clippers, you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
So it was like that. Like I was judged on that stuff.
Really? So the whole experience, not just the cut, but like the delivery of the service,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
And then third competition was the Jersey Shore Barber Battle.
Mhm.
And then I didn't place in that one. That was a bummer. That was a bummer. And then what was the other competition I did? Oh, and the other competition I did was the concrete hair jungle battle, the concrete jungle hair battle,
Mhm.
which was pretty cool. That
Mhm.
was pretty cool because I was the only female in that competition, so I
Wow.
was like
Out
shocked.
of how many barbers?
I was like 22 barbers,
Yeah.
I think. I didn't count. I didn't count for sure, but
Yeah.
it was up there. It was like about 22 on stage.
And where was this competition? Was that
It was in Soho. It was
okay?
at some like event space in Soho.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's really really cool.
Yeah.
So you get a like a model to come with you. They
Yes.
dictate the haircut that you have to cut.
They
And
tell
then
me, and then I have to find somebody that's gonna fit good with that haircut.
oh, so you don't know before you go. Or
No, I
you know
know before
before
I
you
go.
go.
I
Right.
know before I
And then
go.
you can plan the correct model for you and for
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's kind of scary. That's really scary. Everybody's doing the same cut.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So let's talk about something. It's something interesting that you said about your concrete jungle hair battle that you were the only female in that space. Do you
Yeah.
find a disparity between male and female, and do you find that there's support there, or do you find that there's like a rift there between male and female barbers?
I think it just depends. Everybody's different. You know what I mean? Some people are like when they think of a barber, they think of a guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And some people when they think of a barber, they think, they'll think either female or male. Like it just depends. But some people they also think that a woman is supposed to be a hairstylist and a man is supposed to be a barber. So they think that that's like the male version of like what a hairstylist would be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So even if somebody walks into a salon and they see a man working there, um, that's not wearing a black turtleneck and has slick back hair and like big old glasses,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
like, a barber. They're gonna think, oh, he's a barber, instead of a stylist.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, um, a lot of people not have more respect for her, but they can understand a guy becoming a barber.
Sure.
They don't understand a girl becoming a barber
Gotcha.
necessarily.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. But have you ever dealt with any of like adversity personally?
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely. I mean, totally, totally.
give me a story.
So I was working in a barber shop. I was the only female there, and a mother comes in with her son, and I'm like, the kid's next. So I walk up and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to cut his hair, and she's like, oh, he's gonna wait for one of the guys to cut his hair,
Mhm.
and I was like, whoa, like she just automatic like the way that she said it, the way she was like, oh, he's gonna wait for one of the guys to cut his hair. It was like, you're a female, so I don't really think that you're gonna be able to cut my son's hair. So that
Mhm.
was like one thing that really like pissed me off.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I felt like I was definitely singled out
Mhm.
being a female in a barbershop
Mhm.
in that situation.
I can definitely understand and see customers like being silly and
Oh yeah,
weird like that.
definitely.
Is there more respect between barbers though, like male barbers respecting female barbers and not really giving them a hard time, or is there like kind of a shutout?
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely a lot of guys that are like very supportive of female barbers and
Mhm.
look up to female barbers. There's this one chick in particular, Stay Gold, Sophie Pock, and she's like amazing.
Mhm.
She's a great barber. She's pushed herself. She's, at an she's like at just out of this world barber, and I've looked up to her for quite some time, and like a lot of men look up to her,
Mhm.
in terms of like this, the kinds of haircuts she does, the industry that we're in. It's like we have to support each other. We need that support. We need that support. We need the we need the motivation. We need the what do you call it? Like, even if I have a question, like, what did you do in this particular time? Like, I can reach out to her.
Mhm.
I can reach out to some barber and like get the support I need
Mhm.
for that situation. It's such a it's like a tribe. It's like
That's
really
great.
it's really cool, a really cool community to be a part of.
That's great. That's really great. I cut my hair when I was like right out of college. So I've been getting haircuts for a really, really long time. And I think I told you about, the first barber that like really I was able to like get my hair cut with and like stay with. But there was only one woman barber in that shop. everybody loved her. No one gave her like any flack, or there was no guys that gave her any flack or anything like that. But she had established herself in that neighborhood, and she was really a respected barber, and everybody loved her. So,
What's her Instagram? I'll follow her right now.
oh, I don't know if she has any Instagram. This is a long time ago, a long time ago.
Wow.
This barbershop is like one of those barbershops that's next to a grocery store.
Mhm.
So I don't think they have to do much of that Instagram advertising. In Georgia, it's like, sort of in a populated area. So I'm sure you can attest to like your barbershop being in the right spot, and
Oh
you
yeah,
get a lot of
location is a
walk-in
big part of it.
clientele.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so, well, since we've been through that, let's start back with how you got into barbering. What was the catalyst for you that made you decide, okay, I want to be a barber?
Hmm. I was always kind of an underachiever. I was a class clown in school. I was artistic also.
Yeah.
I was very artistic, so like that like kind of attracted me to like the barbering industry was like the artistic part of it. But I was working in this laundromat and I saw these girls come in who were, they had worked in the salon and they were dressed really nice and they seemed really happy and I was like, wow, like, and they're washing towels and stuff and I'm like, wow, what do you guys do? And they're like, oh, we're stylists. And I kind of asked them how they got to being stylists and like
Mm-hmm.
the one girl I really related to, this girl Carrie, like we really clicked like on a level because she would come in like every day to wash towels,
Mm-hmm.
and she was an assistant and like I asked her how she did it. She went to school and I was like, wow, like I had no idea
Mm-hmm.
that there was like cosmetology school. I had no clue.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, wow, like maybe I could do that. And at this point in time, I had cut my hair. I was coloring it. I was doing stuff to my hair at home. So I was like interested. It interested me. So then like within a week, I registered for school and
Mm-hmm.
I got in, and I also like when having my hair short, I was going to a barber shop to get my hair cut
Mm-hmm.
and I saw them working and I was like, this is like a really cool environment. And
Mm-hmm.
like that I ended up working in that barber shop, like later on down the line
Mm-hmm.
and the barber shop that I sat in and thought like, wow, I could be a barber.
Gotcha.
So it's cool.
Gotcha. So now, once you like, take me through your training, because like for us, we go through school, right? And our training is in academia. It's in our academic like process. Um the process is also performance, right? So they create places for us to perform, while we're being trained. But for you, your training is like a shorter amount of time, right? Like a year or so. How long is a
Yeah, it's
cosmetic?
about 9 months to a year.
9 months to a year. And then after you get done learning all the concepts that you learn, now what do you have to do as a young barber with no experience?
As a young barber, you have to like go and get into a salon or a barber shop to kind of like get the feel and like wash hair and like work your way up,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Is that what you did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I did. I ended up working in 2 salons. That was like because I knew I wasn't sure I wanted a barber, but I had a friend who was like really adamant about me getting my hands in everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up getting a job. The 2 jobs that I worked at, they were more ethnic salons.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just like, you know, flat ironing hair, blowing it out, and that's it. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was like relaxers, hair color, blowing the hair out,
Mm-hmm.
washing it. You know what I mean? Relax.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a lot of like real technical stuff that
Mm-hmm.
like went into like one head. So I
Mm.
learned that aspect, and then after that, I ended up deciding I was like, this isn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
This area of
Cosmetology.
cosmetology,
So like
hairstyling is not for me.
you didn't want to be a stylist. Like
No.
you were like,
I was
no.
like, no, I don't want to be a stylist.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
I just like couldn't really relate. For me, like I can't spend too much time with people I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact of like barbering is like someone's in and out in 10, 15
It's
minutes.
fast. Yeah.
It's fast. It's a quick interaction. And
Yeah.
I was like, this is the type of thing that I'm into.
Yeah. Well, this brings up an ignorant question because I just don't know. All barbers, stylists go to cosmetology school specifically, and then they try to get into the specific industries that they want to get in, or is there cosmetology school for uh, stylist and for barbering and then maybe for like a
They
nail
so the laws had changed, right? Like when I went to school, in order to be a barber, you had to go to cosmetology school. You couldn't just go to barbering school.
mhm,
Nowadays you can go and just take a barbering course,
mm,
which is a shorter period of time.
mm.
Um,
Without like the aim of like wanting
without the
to
aim of like
getting
wanting to
the
be a stylist.
degree. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So if somebody was like, okay, I know I want to be a barber, I want to do shaves, I want to do haircuts, I don't want to do hair color, they can go to a barbering academy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How did you get the experience of cutting hair?
Oh,
Because
how did I get the
yeah,
experience?
because you were in like general cosmetology at that point, right?
Yes.
And like kind of focusing on being a stylist instead of being a barber. So how did you make that jump, that transition?
So in school, right, you have 500 hours that upstairs in the classroom, and then you have another five or no, it's 600 hours upstairs in the classroom and then another 600 hours in a salon environment. So it was like a class, we'd have class, and then we'd have a certain period of time where we were getting called to the front to do services,
Mm-hmm.
discounted services for people
Mm-hmm.
that came to the school to get a discount service,
Mm-hmm.
in a environment where people are learning how to do this. So I would volunteer for the men's cuts, and there was a few other guys that were in the cosmetology class of mine that were barbers, and they wanted to like, they were working in shops already, so they knew how to cut hair, and they would do demos, and I would watch them and check them out, and then like try to like mimic what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And then pretty much what me getting people in my chair was like me telling friends that I'm in school, come by the school, let me cut your hair, and
Mm-hmm.
then like cutting my brother's hair, my dad's hair at home, and just trying to find those heads to like get
People that'll let you cut their hair.
get people that let me cut their hair. Yeah,
My grandfather and my uncle used to let me cut their hair.
that's
That's
awesome.
not a good idea. Not a good idea. I'm pretty sure that I gave them both. They both like the end of that haircut had to be bald. Because like my grandfather was already mostly bald, and then my uncle, uh, they pretty much would do like a really short cut too. But then I would be like, I'm gonna try to give him a fade,
Yeah.
and then you can't do that. You don't have skills. So like I would do it, and I'd be like, "Oops, Uncle Mac, I gotta just take it all off for you now, cause it's not right." So, but they were really sweet. So that's hard. This is my practice instrument, right? My snare, all this stuff. Like I don't have to ask, or get people to come in or ask somebody to trust me to let them cut their hair. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that seems daunting.
Yeah. Yeah. It was rough.
Mm.
There was many times I wanted to give up
Yeah,
because it wasn't easy.
I bet. Can you tell me a little bit about? I don't know the technical terms like about like barbering and the artistry behind it. I've seen hair shows where you know the stylists work really fast, and all of a sudden they have like a really crazy do, and that type of thing. Can you speak a little bit to the artistry, because it's an art form that maybe not everybody thinks of as an art form, but you're basically sculpting and drawing and creating. So can you speak a little bit about that artistry that we may all miss in barbering?
Oh man. The thing with like cutting someone's hair, right? It's not like as simple as like it sounds,
Hmm.
cutting someone's hair, like I can have someone sit in my chair and they're like, "All right, I want a number 1 all around," right? A number 1 clip all around takes takes it usually takes about like 5 minutes. But when you don't know how to do it, you're like starting from the bottom. Oh my god, are they sure they want to go that short? Are they sure that this is
Hmm.
what they want? Like in my head, I have to know my steps and know exactly what this is going to look like at the end before
Hmm.
I even start.
Hmm.
So somebody might want something as easy as a number 1, but then somebody might want something as difficult as like a skin fade on the sides or a number 1 on the sides up to like 4 inches of hair on the top. So I have to know exactly what the length has to be in the middle so that I can like make those lengths like come together and and
Mm.
and meet to like be this haircut,
Mm-hmm.
you know? It's really like about seeing the final product before you even start,
Mm.
and even if it doesn't come out the way that you think, but like you're like, this is the haircut that I'm gonna execute. these are the steps I'm going to take, and then the final product does end up being what they ask for or what they want.
Hmm. As you're talking about that, like I'm thinking about the obvious art forms that we all celebrate every day. Like if we open up a magazine and we're looking at fashion, we usually don't, or I don't, look at the hairstyle of the model, which is also a part of the picture. You know what I mean? It's just overlooked. It's just very much overlooked. Like you're doing competitions, but are there like movements to expose like the artistry in barbering or like the
Oh,
skill and
dude, it's
technique?
blowing up now. It's
Yeah.
$1 billion industry.
Yeah.
It is $1 billion industry, and like there's so many people like starting products, and they're building brands, and they're getting asked by other brands to like be a representation of that brand, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
So there's so many opportunities out
Mhm.
there, in the barbering industry. And when a special event comes up, like what are people thinking of? They're like, "All right, what am I going to wear, and like where am I going to get my hair cut?
Right.
How is my hair going to look?"
Right.
So like that's a big thing
It's the
too.
first thing. Right. Exactly. Absolutely. Well, one of the things that I thought you said that was really interesting when we talked a couple weeks ago, you talked about something that I never heard before, something called chair psychology. Can you just tell the listeners what chair psychology is so they know that they're getting worked when they go to their style their barber or their stylist?
So to me, right, chair psychology really is like the interaction from the time they walk in the door to the time that they leave the shop
So you're
with their
shaping this
haircut.
entire
You're
experience.
shaping this entire experience. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? And like I have on and off days. I have days where I'm like, oh my God, like I just want to get out of here. And I have days where I'm like on it and I'm like on point and like
Mhm.
or I see so like say somebody new walks into my shop. They walk into my shop, and I first off, I don't know if they're gonna be especially if there's other people working,
Mhm.
are they gonna be a client of mine? Are they gonna be a client of theirs? How do I know? So I kind of like get the feel when they walk in, and usually like in regular barbershops, like people will take turns, you know, taking walk-ins or whatever. Usually, unless there's like some thirsty barber that like is really
Taking
hungry and like
everybody's.
take trying to take everybody. Like they walk in the door and they're like, "Oh, what's up?" Like, "How you doing? Like, come over here." Which that happens.
Mm.
So, I'm looking at what they're wearing. I'm looking at their attitude. I'm looking at everything. Their ethnic background, their profile. Like I'm profiling them, like
Mhm.
how they are as an individual, how outgoing they might seem, how, you know what I mean? And then I go off what they say, like they might tell me that they want this certain haircut, right? So I have to comb through their hair, sit them down, shake their hand, introduce myself, sit them down, put a cape on them, comb through their hair, do like a mini consultation. Or, they might know what they want. They might say, like, oh, I want a number three on the side, blah, 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 blah. And they know exactly what they want. They sit down, they just want their hair cut and they want to get out. You know what I mean? So I have to like determine which which of those they are. Like, are they that person that doesn't know what they want? Are they the
Mhm.
person that does know what they want?
Mhm.
Like what service am I gonna give them right
Mhm.
now?
Mhm.
Um, but there's also like confidence, you know what I mean? Like there's guys that walk in the shop and they're not sure that I'm gonna deliver a good service, you know what I mean? So they're watching me. They're
Mhm.
watching how I pick up my clippers, how I pick up my comb. And some people like I've noticed like as good as I've gotten, the better I've gotten, the more relaxed people are in the chair. You know what I mean? Because they can sense the trepidation or the like hesitation that I might have like when they ask me a question or I
Mhm.
repeat back the question
Mhm.
in a weird way. Like you tell me what you want and then I'm telling you a version of what I think you just said. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable.
Mhm.
It's very uncomfortable.
I know I'm a tough customer because you've been cutting my hair for a long time, and I still walk in and I say, just the other day, I don't know what to say. Like I want it,
You did good. You did good.
right? Like I don't know what to say, so I'm just gonna sit down. and and so I imagine that a lot of people are like me. They're just like they could see what they want, their hair to be like, or just kind of cut, but like then they don't know what to say about it. What do you do with clients who come in and request something that may not be such a good idea? for their hair or for their
I honestly try my best to give them what they want.
just do
I
what they
try to
say.
give them what they want.
Yeah.
That's it. If they want like something, and I have to leave like the middle part long as hell and
Mhm.
then this part like that way, like then I have to show them how they're going to style it. You know what I mean? Like if they want, so then
Mm.
if they want this haircut, I have to let them know the maintenance it's going to take.
Mhm.
Like this is going to take a certain amount of maintenance. This
Mhm.
is what you're going to have to do. And are you willing to do that? And if they are, then great, we can do this haircut. But if they aren't, then
That's
either I give them this haircut and then it looks a mess once they go home or they wash it, but like I gave them what they wanted.
mhm. That's tough. You always have to balance that.
Yeah,
And you have to
it is
sacrifice
tough.
like what you know is good for what somebody is asking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people really don't want to hear that shit. They really do not want to hear, "Oh, your hair doesn't work like this."
Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
true. Like if I sat down in a chair and I asked for something and somebody would be like, "Well, I guess that kind of means like you just can't do it."
Yeah, and I have to like perceive what they're going to think if I say that, right? Like
Mhm.
if I say no, this isn't going to work, right? That's going to kind of come off as like I'm being lazy
Mhm.
and I
Yeah, but
just don't want to do this
that you
haircut.
just don't want to do the haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah, which isn't the deal. Which is not the deal. The deal is like everybody comes in with the idea of what they think they look like or what they would look good looking like, you know? And
Yeah.
so just trying to meet that person's perspective or that person's vision
Mhm.
is what that's tough though.
Yeah, and they're also only seeing it from the front, so I can give them what they want where it looks like it from the front, and then just do
That's
whatever I
the
want.
artist part. And then do the thing in the back that makes the most sense.
That makes the most sense,
That's the artist
exactly.
part. All right. So with our time left, I want to ask you a couple questions. So there's some cool fun facts about you that I think people should know. And I also think it's interesting because artistry runs in your family. Can tell us who your grandmother is.
So my grandmother is Gail Fisher.
Mhm.
She passed away in 2001, but she was an actress in a 1970s uh, TV show called Mannix.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, my grandma was pretty famous.
And also the trophies that she's got.
The trophies.
The,
Oh, she's won an Emmy and a Golden
yeah,
Globe.
you can't call them trophies, but
The
awards.
trophies,
The
awards,
awards that she's got. Emmy and a Golden Globe. First black female to win an Emmy,
Emmy,
right?
and a Golden
And
Globe.
a Golden Globe. That's
Yeah,
amazing. That's really, really amazing.
yeah.
Do you feel like any of your freedom as an artist came from her?
I definitely feel like my confidence as an artist came from her.
Confidence came from grandma. I think
Confidence came from grandma,
that happens for
and I
everybody,
and I
right?
have had to like get my skills up to my confidence level. I think because I
Mm.
would like sit people down, like, "Yeah, I got you.
Mhm.
I will hook you up right now."
Are guys easier than women in terms of
Um,
meticulousness, I guess?
no, I definitely do not think guys are easier. There are some guys that are like really high maintenance,
Mhm.
and there are some women that are really high maintenance. There are some women that are really low maintenance. There are some men that are really low maintenance. So I think that it just depends on the situation.
Gotcha.
I it's hard for me to say.
Mhm. Gotcha. All right, give me a couple of funny client stories that are like, you know, ones that you tell your barber friends. Not, give me a good one.
Yeah, the best is the helicopter moms. I'll be cutting a kid's hair and then the mom will just kind of like stand over me and like watch every single thing I do. Aren't you gonna cut that part shorter? Are you gonna like take a little bit more here? Are both sides gonna be even? And I'm like, back up, please.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure you in Montclair have a lot of parents, like hovering parents around there.
I think I'm good in terms of like the message that I get across. I'm like, you know what? I'm in charge here. I
Mm,
got this. You don't
mhm,
have to worry.
mhm,
And if they want to stand there and like be in my way while I'm trying to cut hair, like I'll let them stand there.
mhm,
Like I won't like tell a parent like, "Oh, go sit down, please."
mhm.
Like I don't and parents and I think kids do not like when parents are being told their parents are being told what to do. It like bothers
Ah,
kids.
wow.
Yeah.
I've never really seen that before.
Yeah. Like, if I'm like, "Oh, can you please sit down? Can you please do this? Can you please do that?" Like, the
Mhm.
kids get really weird about that, and I've
Uncomfortable.
noticed that. So I try to just, like, not even, like, I'm not like, "Mom, can you, like, go sit over here? Mom, can you do me a favor and, like, hold his head still?"
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's a pleasure to speak to somebody that's like not a musician, and looking at your hustle that goes back from like when you first started getting out of training and like you know doing a lot of free haircuts, trying to get as much practice as you can,
Yeah.
to gain as much experience as you can, just so that you can start at the bottom, to work your way up to a shop owner and competition, placings and that type of thing, putting
Yeah.
yourself out there. So it's really beautiful, to see. It's beautiful to see you, get your own shop because I've been with you for like 3 or 4 years,
Yeah.
and then this whole experience just kind of came about, recently. So it's been cool transition to watch you like grow into the shop owner, mentoring people. You're dealing with clients like me that are have anxiety every day about what their hair is gonna look like, who's taking a picture of them or something like that. So I really appreciate you coming by, and hopefully, um, we could do like a recap
Yeah.
of this at some point, like next year, like to see where you are. Do it at January's. Do like
Despite
a YouTube
rejection
thing.
and the worst odds.
Absolutely. So,
And it
all
will
right.
be
Well, thanks
better
for
than
coming,
anything else you can
and
imagine.
hopefully we'll see you really soon.
If you're going to try, go all the way. There is no other feeling like that. You will be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire.
This is only the beginning.